Fixed asset management functionality is embedded in the core of the product. The solution is activated by going to Company Details in the Administration module under System Initialization, Basic Initialization tab, and enable the Fixed Assets feature. Required settings need to be configured prior to transacting fixed assets. Asset account determination helps us define the GL accounts that will automatically get posted to the system when doing transactions for the fixed asset. If I go into Administration, Setup, Financials, Fixed Assets, Account Determination, we can see that for the machinery group, we have selected all of these various accounts. Transactions such as capitalization, depreciations, and retirement will then be taking the required GL account from this setup. Depreciation types allow us to set up a depreciation method, such as a straight line or declining method, as well as a few other ones. A calculation base, such as monthly or yearly. And we additionally can set up some defaults for standard remaining book value, salvage value percentages, and set up depreciation server start date defaults for acquisitions, subsequent acquisitions, etc. By going into asset classes, here as we would define our various asset groups such as office equipment, motor vehicles, machinery, etc., to name a few. Here is what I would link depreciation areas such as GAAP or internal, the account determination, let's say for machinery, and the depreciation type if it's straight line or declining method, and a standard useful life for this particular asset class. It's useful to know that asset classes can be assigned for multiple and various asset master data. In this case, SAP Business One lets us group our assets in various asset classes. First, let's see how we can add a fixed asset to SAP Business One. The Fixed Assets module is located under Financials, Fixed Assets, and we will open the Asset Master Data window. For any new fixed asset item, you still need to define the master data for these fixed assets. So now, let's switch to the Add mode, and we're going to assign an item code which can be automatically selected and a description for a fixed asset. We can now select the asset class machinery by moving to the Fixed Assets tab, and from the asset class setup, we will select machinery, and we can see some defaults have already come through to our asset master data. Depreciation area, the standard useful life for all assets within this asset class, and the depreciation type, in this case a straight line. These can be overwritten, so we can update the useful life if it's a little longer for this particular fixed asset. Let's click Add. Now I can move on to registering a purchasing invoice for the item in the system. So to do this, we navigate to the purchasing module and select AP Invoice, select a vendor, and a posting date, let's say of March this year. and the item that I will purchase for a price of $3,600. We can now add the invoice to the system. If we now go to the relationship map for this purchase and invoice by right-click Relationship Map, we can see that we have automatically added a capitalization for this asset. In the capitalization window, we can see that this asset was capitalized with the date of the purchasing invoice and that it posted to the asset balance sheet account for machinery, offsetting to the acquisition clearing account, which the system uses as an interim account while adding both the invoice and the capitalization. Now, let's see the summary of this fixed asset. We can see that this fixed asset now has an acquisition and production costs of $3,600. And based on the depreciation expected for the year of 2018, the net book value at the end of the year should be $2,700. If we go to the depreciation tab, we can see that $100 is expected for the following months, and that no depreciation has been posted yet. Now we can run a depreciation for this fixed asset by going to Financials, Fixed Assets, and Depreciation Run. From here, we can select the period for which we want to run the depreciation. In this case, I want to run the depreciation for April of 2018. And preview. And from here, we can see that the system is expecting a depreciation of $100 for the month of April for this particular asset. Let's click Execute. The system warns us that there will be a depreciation run executed for the area of GAAP until the period of April 2018. Let's click Continue. And if we now drill into the journal entry that was generated via this depreciation run, we can see that an expense was posted for depreciation machinery and also affected our accumulated depreciation for machinery as well. Similarly, by going into the Fixed Asset Master Data window, Fixed Assets tab, Depreciation tab, we can see that there's a depreciation posted for $100 for the month of April. The rest of the months still showing a balance of 0 since no depreciation runs have been executed for those periods. SAP Business One also makes it possible to purchase many fixed assets at once. We will do this by using the virtual fixed asset function in SAP. For that, I will go to Asset Master Data, we assigned an item code which can be automatically selected, a description, under the Fixed Assets tab, we'll select an asset class. And before we add this asset master data, we will click on the checkbox Virtual Item. Let's add this item. Now, if we generate a purchasing invoice for the virtual item added, select a vendor, a posting date, let's say of March this year, and our equipment unit, and we will be buying 10 units that we will be distributing through the warehouse for a price of $1,000 each. Let's click Add. Now, if we open the relationship map for this AP invoice, we can see that a capitalization has been generated, and also the multiple asset master data have been created. If we drill into equipment unit MACH0010, we can see that 10 new master data have been added, taking our virtual item fixed asset as a template to create the rest of these items. If we go into every single one, we can see that acquisition and production costs have been assigned based on the $1,000 of unit price that we purchased them from. Although the AP invoice shows us one row for the item, this involves many items that have been created. We can look at them by going into the virtual fixed asset, and now go into the next record. Additionally, as you saw when I clicked on virtual item, you can enforce serial numbers in order to require SAP to assign a serial number to these fixed assets that you will be assigning at time of entry on the AP invoice. A very useful tool that allows us to look at the status of our current assets in the system is by going into Financials, Fixed Assets, Fixed Asset Reports, and clicking on the Asset History Sheet. From here, we can see what has been depreciated for a particular asset classes throughout the year, and what we expect our net book values to be at the end of the year. Let's say that I want to look at machinery. Period 2018, and I select from the first of the month until December 2018. I click OK, and from here we can see that we can do a summary of the total capitalization for this particular asset class, which we can see in this column for $21,220. We can also look at depreciation values if we scroll all the way to the right hand side, and we can see that only $300 have been depreciated for this particular asset class. If I click expand, I can then review each and single one asset master data that belongs to this particular asset class. In this way, if I click all the way to the right, I can look at capitalization numbers for each of the master datas, as well as what the depreciation has been run for each and single one of them. I have subtotals here to the bottom for total acquisition and production costs, as well as depreciation that's taken place so far into the year, and what I expect my net book value to be at the end of 2018. In summary, SAP Business One provides a very extensive solution for managing fixed assets as part of managing financials in the system. Fixed assets is a tool that needs to be enabled, as we mentioned, under administration, system initialization, and company details. Once that is enabled, then SAP will provide an additional module under the financials module called fixed assets, where we can define asset master datas, we can add capitalizations, retirements, and run monthly depreciations. All of those that will be governed by the configurations that take place under administration, setup, financial, fixed assets. SAP Business One allows us to import previously transacted or active fixed assets by going into data import and using the import fixed asset master data from Excel tool when deploying the fixed assets functionality in SAP Business One. This concludes our fixed asset demonstration for today.